every thought, especially if these are thoughts that are not very, affirming. I have to place it somewhere.
So let me ask you this.
And
No, finish the thought, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Go ahead, finish it.
Well, no, I was just going to say, when you enter into a relationship as you get older, your partner may or may not get a chance to see those rooms of thought that you have, and chances are the answer is no.
So if your primary caregiver cheated you in some kind of way, did they create in you a magnet for the cheater to come to you?
Oh, okay. You getting personal over here.
I'm just asking. If you got cheated in your childhood.
I mean, that's a possibility, or you can become the cheater.
But do you see what I'm saying? Because listen, just like we mentioned earlier, rejection, right? You're rejected by the primary caregiver. It teaches self-rejection. Right? You're going to magnetize somebody that may reject you because there's a fear of it. And if you're chasing, you're setting up the rejection because you're chasing, right? Anxious, right? So wouldn't the same be true if your parent cheated you out of attention, out of nurturing, out of empathy, right? If they cheated you out of anything, did they place in your spirit a magnet for the external cheater? When we come forward, these questions and more will be answered by my august phone lines. Let's get it.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. California Governor Gavin Newsom is being sued over the state's new gender identity law. Newsom signed a law on Monday that bans schools from notifying parents if their child asks to change their name or pronouns. The Chino Valley Unified School District, however, claims parents have a right to know and is the first to file a lawsuit. One of the WNBA's original coaches will return for this weekend's All-Star game in Phoenix, Arizona. The league announced Wednesday that basketball icon African-American Cheryl Miller will serve as the head coach for Team WNBA. The Hall of Famer was the first ever head coach and general manager for the Phoenix Mercury in 1997. Miller will lead a team featuring Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese as they take on Team USA. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Looking for a better way to get around LA? SoCal 511 gives you real-time traffic alerts to help you find faster ways around LA County. It's free and helps motorists easily find fast track and roadside assistance services. Visit SoCal511.com or dial 511 on your phone.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The U.S. Olympic men's basketball team cruised to a 26-point win today over Serbia in an exhibition game in Abu Dhabi. 18 points for Steph Curry. LeBron had 11. Team USA is 3-0. They head to London for their final two exhibition games. They play South Sudan Saturday and Germany on Monday. Then it's on to Paris to get ready for the Summer Olympics. There are two games in the WNBA today, Atlanta at Minnesota and Indiana at Dallas. After the games, the WNBA shuts down for a month to take a break for the Olympics. The U.S. Women's Olympic team will play an exhibition game Saturday in Phoenix against a group of WNBA All-Stars. That game will tip off at 5:30 p.m. on ABC. Kentucky State and Morehouse College have agreed to play in the Chicago Football Classic September 21st at Soldier Field. Soldier Field has been the site for an annual showcase featuring HBCU football teams. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California, home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for Black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Veto, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising@KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you Black.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule. 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First Black on Talk Radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Ty Shelton making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted Black and Brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show right here is called First Things First, and my first thing is always giving thanks and praises and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. I got the mic, you got the phone. We got a lot to talk about. That's what we do around here. On First Things First on KBLA, we start our day like this. Hour 1, we look local, what's going on around here, left coast. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest. Today, the person or persons of interest is me and Miles once again. And you're invited in every hour, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Look, we said we were going to finish unpacking our Africa trip. One bite at a time, and we will do so. And of course, you know that colors and informs just about everything else that we do. Good morning. What's up? I'm so happy to welcome in for hour 1 my partner in politics today. She is a professor of Pan-African Studies, a political scientist at Cal State LA. She is a mom. She's also the co-founder of Black Lives Matter LA and lead organizer for that group and the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. And she's a radio person when she's not running for vice president. That would be Dr. Melina Abdullah. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So good to be with you this morning, Sister Dominique.
Yeah, great to have you on. Man, there's a lot going on nationally, locally, and all of that. But I know, because I was there, that that Black Lives Matter Grassroots just had like a convening. Folks from all over the country were in LA doing organizer type things.
Oh, my goodness. It was beautiful. You were there for some of it. We just had just a beautiful time with 39 chapters from all around the country. We welcomed on 6 new chapters. So first things first, listeners, know that we were 33. We grew by 6 because we have an onboarding every year where they go through a couple of months of training and workshops. And so we welcomed on 6 new chapters, including 3 of them which are led by families of those killed by police. So the family of Alvin Cole in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they just opened or chartered their chapter. The family of Glenn Foster Jr. in New Orleans just chartered a chapter. And then the family of Jalen Randall in Houston, Texas, just chartered a chapter. So we're now 39 chapters all around the country. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful gathering, beautiful energy, powerful energy and love, and a reminder that whether the cameras are looking or not, that there are Black people who are committed to our own liberation, to doing the work that it takes to get Black people free.
Yeah, it was really interesting and informative to hear some of the folks from the different chapters describing the kinds of things they do. People have the autonomy to do what's needed in their local communities, as well as joining in with the initiatives of the national umbrella organization, which is Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Really, really interesting to hear from many of those different folks.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a knowledge and understanding of what their own communities need. So here in Los Angeles, we spend a lot of time on police accountability and spend a lot of time, pushing back against the Los Angeles Police Protective League and the Association of Los Angeles Deputy Sheriffs, these police associations that are not unions, but behave in a way that are really organized crime, right? That really kind of cape for even the most murderous police. And all of our chapters speak out against police violence, but chapters in places like Detroit also understand that in their community, one of the greatest needs is around healthy food. And so they give away food boxes every month to Black community that are sourced by Black farmers in Michigan, which is really important. And Black Lives Matter Flint, they still don't have clean water. And so one of their big things is about trying to continue to fight for clean water in Flint, Michigan. So each chapter has their own focus, which is really, really good and beautiful, and talks about, speaks to the expansiveness of Black Lives Matter and what it means to make Black Lives Matter.
It's also interesting for me as a journalist that, I always hear the talking points about BLM and, what Black Lives Matter is and is not. And seeing the collection of folks that turned up from 39 different chapters really flies in the face of that, just because there's such a variety of people, and many of them are exactly what folks say BLM is not, which are Black men, but just a variety of Black women and younger, older, different styles, faiths, backgrounds, really quite an interesting collection of people.
Yeah, I mean, there's, over the weekend we've had, Talivia Cole, Alvin Cole's sister, brought her brand new baby, right? Not brand new, almost brand new, 1-year-old baby, right? So we ranged in age from 1 year old to into their 80s. Not quite 80 is our own Baba Akili, who's 76 years old, right? Sister Arlene is an elder. Sister Carriel, who leads our Buffalo chapter, is an elder. And here's something else. We had to really deliberate over the Buffalo chapter because our lead for Buffalo is actually a former cop, right?
Oh, wow.
And people are going, wait, what? But look, we always say no police, no former cops. But then with Sister Carriel Horn, and people should Google her, was fired from the Buffalo police because she intervened when Buffalo cops were attempting to choke to death a Black man. And she intervened. She told on them, and she was ultimately fired from Buffalo Police and has been a whistleblower for several years, and then targeted by Buffalo Police for trying to hold them to account. So when you talk about a range of folks, who would have ever thought? But, if you're going to have a former cop in your midst, Cariol is the one you want to have, right? So there's a complete range of people within Black Lives Matter. The thing that binds us together is we're all committed to Black liberation. And even Sister Cariol is an abolitionist and can speak to it probably more knowledgeably than anybody else that I know, that this is why policing is irredeemable, and this is why we have to have community safety rather than former slave catchers who pretend to offer safety to Black communities.
And speaking of all the things that are happening in the different chapters, people may remember, and I say may remember because there's so many Black people being murdered by police still in 2024, may remember Niyani Finlayson's case, a young mom who was actually killed by sheriff's deputies. We have an update on that case, right?
Yes. So today at 2:30 p.m., we'll be in Woodland Hills for a press conference with Niyani Finlayson's family. Niyani Finlayson is the young Black mom who called 911 when she was experiencing a domestic dispute. She called for help. A deputy named Ty Shelton, who had already murdered Michael Thomas out in the Antelope Valley, busted into her home and murdered this young Black mother in front of her 9-year-old daughter. And first things first, listeners, KBLA listeners will know that Black Lives Matter Los Angeles spent months getting folks to call in to the sheriff's office, the sheriff's station out there in Lancaster, Palmdale. We had press conferences. We made demands of the sheriff. And finally, what will be announced today is that double murderer, Ty Shelton, was finally fired from the LA County Sheriff's Office in the name of Niyani Finlayson.
Woohoo.
So it does work to fight. It works to fight,
Yeah, and I also think those wins, you always say celebrate the wins, but those wins are important because I hear this narrative that protesting doesn't work, demonstrating makes no difference, and I know that's not true just from my life experience, but I think it's important for people to understand that those victories continue even when we're busy worrying about what Amber Rose said at the Republican National Convention. The work goes on and the victories continue.
That's right. That's right. And everybody who made those calls, please also honor yourselves, because picking up the phone and dialing that number and simply saying, fire Sheriff's Deputy Ty Shelton, that's what did it. And so please uplift yourself and remember that if you do just one little thing for justice every day, when we all do that, we have major victories. And I can't tell you what I heard in the voice of Sister Tracy, Niyani's mom, around that. It just, it makes me want to cry thinking about how much it means to Niyani's mom and Niyani's 2 daughters and her brothers. And it doesn't bring Niyani back, but it is a step forward in Niyani's name.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're trying to figure out that one step toward justice that you can do, a great place to start is at the Black Lives Matter Grassroots.org, BLMgrassroots.org website. You guys have, or BLMLA, you guys actually have, you can do this. Some of them are big things and some of them are smaller. Simple actions that folks can take if they want to keep being part of the solution, but they're not ready to join you every Wednesday for the protests here in Los Angeles.
That's right. That's right. So BLM Grassroots on all social media is our national formation. And then, of course, BLM Los Angeles on Instagram. And, yeah, meet us in the streets, though, on Wednesdays, because it is a lot of fun. And we can maybe talk about that. We were joined on Wednesday, yesterday, by the family of Yang Yang, who was the Korean brother who was suffering with mental health, and LAPD came in and murdered him in his parents' home in Koreatown just a few weeks ago. So
Wow.
experiencing that kind of interracial solidarity during protest is also really, really beautiful.
Talking with Dr. Melina Abdullah, you are welcome in. If you got a comment, a question, or just you want to be contrary, you can come on into 800-920-1580. It just makes us stronger, people. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
When you turn to the Employment Development Department, we'll help you get there. Whether it's support for you and your family while you find a new job, or the resources to focus on your recovery after illness or injury, we can help you move forward. From support while you bond with your newborn, to helping serve your family while your partner serves our country. Your EDD. We'll help you get there. For more information, visit edd.ca.gov.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Just a few short months ago, California Attorney General Rob Bonta filed 11 felony charges against Diana Turan, an assistant district attorney for Los Angeles County. The charges allege that Turan unlawfully accessed confidential computer data, including police officer files in 2018, and continued to use them after joining the DA's office in 2021. Ironically, Turan, who is now on administrative leave, oversaw the Public Integrity Division, responsible for handling high-profile cases of police misconduct and public corruption, including the charges brought against LA City Council member Karen Price last June. To be sure, the case against Price has raised plenty of eyebrows. Indeed, one noted legal scholar has said publicly, and I quote, "Everything about this prosecution reeks," close quote. Could AG Bonta, with aspirations to become California governor, be punishing Turan for her role in DA George Gascon's police accountability agenda to curry favor with police unions? Could DA Gascon be using the case against Price to showcase his tough stance on crime and political corruption as he vies to retain his seat as DA? Honestly, I have no idea, but here's what I know for sure. Karen Price has been elected and re-elected by thousands of voters, mostly black and brown, who stand to be further disenfranchised if this matter is not handled correctly, which is why it matters to us at KBLA Talk 1580. When the prosecutor is being prosecuted, it seems to me that at the very least, there ought to be a thorough, top-to-bottom, independent review of all cases under Diana Turan's purview to ensure that none of these cases have been tainted. Justice and fundamental fairness demand no less, if public trust truly matters. And I hope it does. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your feedback.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy the rinse straight. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes 100% of odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima and Dr. Melina Abdullah. So, yeah, we have a lot to cover. I don't know what your schedule is like this morning, Dr. Melina Abdullah, but I'm not sure if you're aware that earlier this week I kidnapped James Farr and made him stay with me for the entire 7 o'clock hour. Last week I did the same with Akili, but maybe you can give us at least a few minutes in the 7 o'clock hour to touch on some of these. I know you got something to say about the RNC train wreck, but we were looking at the Wednesdays. Every Wednesday at 4, downtown LA, you guys protest against police associations. And trying to get them out of the House of Labor and saying they're not actually unions. They are, I don't know, I call them cartels. I don't know what you officially call them. But it seems like such a tall order. Like, how do you get a group that calls itself a union to not be considered a union by labor? And seeing Shawn Fain of the huge labor leader to speak at the RNC, it really kind of brought that point home, because I'm just thinking how so many now, we're starting to see so many folks within the labor union turning towards MAGA, turning towards this white supremacist, really anti-labor rhetoric, which leads me to believe that it's race over well-being in that case. But how, what does that look like, taking police associations out of the House of Labor?
Well, it actually doesn't take that much imagining. There was a time when there was not police involvement in the LA County Federation of Labor, right? There was a time when LAPD, the LAPPL, was not a member. Very recently, they've only been members of the House of Labor for the last 8 years or so. So we have other members of the House of Labor, namely my union, the California Faculty Association, but increasingly other unions. The Amazon Workers Union is a second one who's now coming on, saying police do not belong in the House of Labor. And, we can think about this in many, many different ways, but people who are involved in the LA County Federation of Labor in particular, I'm a delegate to the county fed, we advocate for the shared interests of working class people. And another delegate to the County Federation of Labor is Sister Chiquita Twyman, who is the sister of Ryan Twyman, who was murdered by LA County sheriffs. And so she doesn't want to have to sit next to the fake union that didn't advocate for her brother, but instead advocated for the police who actually stole the life of her brother. Also in the county fed is the father of Andres Guardado, the Latino security officer who was murdered also by LA County Sheriff's deputies. And he doesn't want them sitting in the House of Labor. So we're saying it's not that difficult to remove them from the House of Labor, and everybody else in the House of Labor, all of our other unions, while we might benefit from having a few more dollars in terms of union dues paid to the County Federation of Labor, it's not a valid trade-off. It's not a justified trade-off. We want to make sure that these houses of labor actually advocate for the interests of working class people. And the working class people are not aligned with police associations, which are absolutely not unions. In fact, when we think about what do police associations actually do, what do police actually do, they're brought in to bust up strikes. They're brought in to union bust. So their presence in houses of labor is completely unwelcome and unwarranted, and they have to be removed.
UAW, that's the union, of course. I was struggling to think of the name that Shawn Fain is the president of, spoke, I think it was day before yesterday at the Republican National Convention, and I have talked with people, mostly white men in labor, who are turning toward Trump. And it's very strange to me because, say what you want to about Biden. I know you're running against his ticket. One thing he has done is been pro-labor in his appointments and his, public posturing. And it's the complete opposite of the agenda that we see laid out by the Republican Party, not just this time, but every time. So it was kind of shocking to see that, and it's a weird time in history.
Yeah, it's terrible. If you think about what it is the Republicans are pushing for, right? Their language, especially last night, was, fight for the working man, which is also interesting. I haven't heard people refer to humanity as man in a very long time, right? People have understood the gender undertone of that, or overtone of that, right? But they were saying fight for the working man, and then they explicitly said unionized or ununionized, right? Which is a signal that they intend to continue to diminish the power of labor unions, right? It's only through unions that we are united and advocate for working class people. And so, yeah, we should be advocating for all working class people, unionized or ununionized, but part of advocating for them, especially ununionized workers, is to say they have a right to a union. The Republican Party wants to challenge even the right to have a labor union. And one of the things in Project 2025 is rolling back some of the very, very basics that unions have won, including like your right to a weekend, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things we talk. Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about a 160-hour month rather than a 40-hour week, which means your boss could require you to work 100 hours in 1 week and 60 hours in another week, and then you wouldn't have any work for 2 weeks, or basically they would be free to force you to work overtime anytime without the protections, like you said, of a weekend. That's now when America was great again is apparently before organized labor.
That's right. And I think that the reason that there's an opening, though, is that the Democrats have not been particularly strong on labor. Their measure, the Democrats' measure, has been, but we're better than the Republicans.
Right.
Well, that doesn't really invoke or evoke enthusiasm. And
I mean, saying it might be too little, too late. But I mean, and we got to go to news, traffic, and sports. But still, Obama bailed out the UAW. I mean, Biden walked the picket line. I'm not saying it's enough. It may be too little, too late. But if for people who say that it's all the same, you're not paying attention. We like our weekends, and when they attack and talk about in 2020. Project 2025, removing all those government workers, they're talking about black people. It's not a mystery. More on this when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. An Illinois sheriff's deputy is being charged in the deadly shooting of a black woman who called 911 because she thought an intruder was in her home. Prosecutors said Wednesday that Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson has been indicted on multiple charges, including murder. Authorities say Sonia Massey called 911 on July 6 to report a possible intruder in her home in Springfield. Grayson and another deputy went to Massey's home, where Grayson shot and killed the woman. A Federal Reserve governor says it's getting closer to cutting interest rates. Christopher Waller hinted the Fed expects a rare soft landing of the economy unless there are any major changes in inflation and employment numbers. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Looking for a better way to get around LA? SoCal 511 gives you real-time traffic alerts to help you find faster ways around LA County. It's free and helps motorists easily find fast track and roadside assistance services. Visit SoCal511.com or dial 511 on your phone.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Bronny James finally had a productive game for the Lakers rookie team. LeBron's son had 12 points Wednesday night in the Lakers' 1-point win over Atlanta in the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. Bronny also sank his first three-pointer in Summer League play after going 0 for 15. The Lakers play Cleveland tonight at 6, live coverage on ESPN. Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark set a WNBA single-game record with 19 assists in the Fever's loss to Dallas. The previous record was 18. Tiger Woods tees off today in the British Open, one of the 4 majors on the PGA Tour. Woods hasn't won a major since the Masters in 2019. 3 of the 15 majors Woods has won have come at the British Open. At the moment, Woods just wants to make the cut and take his chances later in the final 2 rounds. Woods failed to make the cut in his last 2 tournaments, the PGA Championships and the U.S. Open. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Finding a path to a meaningful career, one where you're making an impact and making enough money, it can be tough. There's one path, though, that many young adults are landing on that leads them to careers where they can work outdoors, protect our environment, take on climate change, and get paid while they train. It's the California Conservation Corps. You just have to be 18 through 25 years old to enroll or a U.S. military veteran through age 29, and you have to be a California resident. That's it. There's no education requirement, no employment history needed. Some Corps members need to finish up high school. Others are college grads. But during their 1 year of service, all CCC Corps members can earn the work experience and certifications needed to become a wildland firefighter, forestry technician, install solar, or build trails in our state parks. Learn how you can enroll at ccc.ca.gov. Do this for you. Become the person you want to be through the California Conservation Corps.
We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what part politics play in our lives.
Questions about black voters, their disengagement, lack of information, and support or lack thereof for Democratic candidates have once again taken center stage as Democrats, Republicans, and independent candidates compete for this critical voting bloc. Will black voters abandon Democrats in this election, move historic numbers of votes toward the Republican nominee, or will they continue a decades-long trend of overperforming for Democratic candidates up and down the ballot? The stakes have never been higher for black America. Tune in to KBLA's new show, The Black Pack, hosted by veteran political strategist Adrian Shropshire, every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for a breakdown of the issues, rhetoric, polling, and more this election year. It's The Black Pack with Adrian Shropshire, Fridays from 4 to 6 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
Always night pads are designed for a perfect night's sleep, so you can do your bear-hugging-a-pillow thing, your free-falling starfish thing, your burritoed in a blanket with the AC blasting thing. While Always night pads with rapid dry do there, we've got your back with fast absorbency and up to 10 hours of protection thing. So while your period's doing its own thing, Always lets you do your sleep thing. Shop for Always in-store or online, wherever you get your pads.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Man, time flies when you're on the radio. We're talking with Dr. Melina Abdullah, and I haven't even gotten to half of the points I wanted to cover. So let's talk about what happened in Africatown, Leimert Park, the other day. It was a little, conversation about a food giveaway here. Because we are broadcasting from Africatown, Leimert Park, and local community-based organization bringing in police. What happened?
Yeah, so it was the timing was incredible, right? So it's the first day of our convening with 39 chapters of Black Lives Matter coming in. Again, many of them led by families of those killed by police. And as we're setting up our building, and Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, the building that we bought with our donations is called the Center for Black Power. It's right on the corner of Crenshaw and 43rd Place across the street from the park and next to the train station. And as we're setting up the building, I noticed, first of all, we noticed cops parked in front of our building. After we encouraged them to leave, we'll just say, I noticed sheriff's deputies walking by, taking pictures in front of our building. So I go outside to shoo them off and look up the street, and this very new, very new organization to Africatown called It's Bigger Than Us is setting up tents, but there are literally dozens of both sheriff's deputies and cops. And It's Bigger Than Us does food giveaways every Friday, which is great. Our neighborhoods need food, right? Unfortunately, most of the people in line for the food giveaway are not from the neighborhood, but we can deal with that later. The pressing issue was that there were all of these cops, and they were joined by the youth that they try to indoctrinate, the explorers and the sheriff's explorers and the cadets, which is where they try to recruit school children as young as 5th grade to become cops. And so, I and Brother Billion from Africatown went up there and basically yelled at them until they left. There was some intense moments. A lot of it is, I missed the initial part where we actually got them to leave, but then went live on Black Lives Matter Los Angeles Instagram, got them to leave, and we've been following up with It's Bigger Than Us, saying that we don't need police to give away heads of lettuce to the neighborhood, right? We can do that ourselves. And we do. Like Black Lives Matter Los Angeles literally does organic produce bags every single month to more than 100 Black Angelinos. And so we offered to support It's Bigger Than Us. If they need, help with people power, get the people. We're happy to step in and help them with a giveaway, but you can't be inviting police in. And just to kind of underscore why, is one of the big things that happened with the police there, with the sheriffs especially there, is the brother of Jamal Simpson, who was killed a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, by LA County sheriffs, was completely triggered. He's a fixture in Africatown, and he was completely triggered having to see sheriff's deputies. He was riding his bike and he was yelling, "They killed my brother, they killed my brother. Get out." And a lot of the folks in community joined with Brother Billion and I in pushing police and sheriffs out of that food giveaway.
Well, the idea of the visual of sheriffs taking selfies in front of the Center for Black Power is very strange to me. Like, what is that? Is that like a trophy or something? And the visual of you, a tiny but mighty woman shooing away sheriffs, is kind of bizarre too. But no, you haven't heard anything back from the police on this? They just left and that was it?
Well, we have engaged the police. But look, I did engage them on that day. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. I'm Oakland born and bred. So sometimes a little bit of that Funktown juice comes out and, I can get loud. So it was really important to do that. We did shoo them away. Who we engaged with was an organization. So we engaged with that very next Monday. So this happened on a Friday. By Monday, we were having a meeting with It's Bigger Than Us, and we did get some commitments to make sure that they don't have police actually handing out food. And then they talked about needing help with traffic direction. And I pointed them to the work we've been doing for years now, trying to remove police from traffic, and that every week our protest has traffic direction, and we do it. We just put people in green vests. We have some cones, and we're much more effective than the one motorcycle cop that they have out on Crenshaw, directing people in lines to get food. And so, the goal is to build community and have shared values within the community, have shared values that say we don't need police giving away food. They didn't even pay for the food. Why are they getting credit for handing out the food bags when you raised the money? It's Bigger Than Us raised the money to be able to purchase these food bags. And so let's make sure that we show that we care for each other. That's what mutual aid is, and we don't need police to do that. And so our goal, again, is not to reach out to police, but to reach out to other people who, and we're not saying that the organization doesn't care about community, but we just have to remind them that community care means actually keeping the community safe and not having them invaded by police every Friday.
Mm. Interesting stuff. I was not familiar with the organization. I'm on their website, and I can't, it doesn't really tell you who is behind it, but it certainly looks like they're trying to do good things. So hopefully they can get on track. Okay, so I would like to get your take on the Karen Bass veto of this November. It's I guess a motion that would be, if it passed, on the November 5th ballot, and it's meant to change the discipline process at the LAPD. It would allow the chief to directly fire an officer, as I understand it, and Karen Bass, the city council passed it, and Karen Bass vetoed it. And what I'm reading in the LA Times is that she says it will cause bureaucratic confusion, and that there are gaps in guidance and ambiguous direction. Now, I haven't studied this. We know that there needs to be, and I know you want to completely abolish police, so maybe this is the kind of minutia that you don't necessarily track. But I know that the discipline system is problematic, and so and it's confusing, because when we talk about citizen oversight, for example, many times we think a citizen board or citizens on the Board of Rights will fix things, but then they have all these restrictions on who can sit on those boards, and it ends up being mostly former cops or police boosters. So it's never as simple as it seems. We'll get Dr. Melina's take on this when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take our auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8% must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
Are you tired of being stuck without internet access? Connect and go with LA County Library. It's simple. Visit your local LA County Library location and borrow a hotspot for free to get Wi-Fi wherever you are. The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PATH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Right, so I was asking Dr. Melina Abdullah about Mayor Karen Bass's first veto of her administration, which is vetoing this ballot measure for November that was supposed to change police discipline. I think it's interesting that earlier the Police Association had said they thought it was the right balance, that the measure was good. I think it's interesting that some folks are saying this is the mayor siding with top brass in the LAPD, but at the same time, Hugo Soto Martinez, who has been a consistent critic of the LAPD, agreed with Bass's veto. And Tim McCosker, who's a former council member, who's a former attorney for the Police Association, has been the most outspoken in his criticism of this veto. Wonder where you fall on this, Dr. Melina Abdullah.
Right. Well, I mean, it was an imperfect measure, right? But it, in my view, and BLMLA kind of took this position, is it was a little better than what we got with Measure C. So right now, people often, when we have issues of police violence, we always say, why doesn't the chief just fire him, right? And the way that the city charter is written, the chief isn't empowered to fire officers, or at least those firings don't stick. They can be appealed all the way up. And there was this big fight we had in 2017 where they changed the composition of the Board of Rights. They tried to make it sound good by saying, well, it should be civilian. But civilian really means former cops and cop advocates on the board. And so this change, this ballot measure, would create some accountability where we could at least pressure the chief to say fire the cop who killed Yang Yang last month in his parents' home. And so, the idea that Karen Bass, what she's saying is she wants a clearer measure, but she didn't come up with any ideas. I think the big problem that we have is that what we've seen consistently from her over the last couple of weeks, a couple of years, or year and a half that she's been in office, is that she has sided with LAPD and even LAPPL, even though they ran $1.5 million campaign against her. And so if you want accountability, but this doesn't work, then what is the accountability you're going to offer? And accountability doesn't come by giving more money to LAPD and raises to cops, which is what she's done.
Well, it's interesting because the LA Times editorial from yesterday says that, or maybe it's today. No, it was yesterday, saying that cops, the cops kind of tricked us. We thought with Measure C that we would have more civilian input, but as you say, there's all these rules about what civilian means and who can sit on that. So it basically means police boosters and former cops. And so I guess this was meant to put another cop on Board of Rights. But one of the things that I'm thinking, and like I said, I haven't drilled down too closely, is that this, whatever measure comes into place to change the disciplinary approach that we have to cops, it's probably going to be the last one for a while, right? And so it seems like it would be good to make it as good as possible. I mean, I'm reading that the city council and the mayors of LA have had 7 years to offer a proposal, and they ended up slapping something together at the last minute, which means the prior mayor basically ignored this for 5 years or more. So I'm not sure, but I have mixed feelings. Like you want them to do something, and you do want it to be better, but I kind of am concerned that we do something like with C, where we end up with something worse, and then because it says this would only let them fire for certain offenses. And then
right, but
the arbitration. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the offenses is absolutely killing somebody.
Right.
Right. So we do think that police who kill people, I mean, one of the things that we have in LAPD is serial killer cops, right?
Yeah.
Police who kill people and then they're not fired and they kill people again. And they have, I mean, it's traumatic to communities in Skid Row that Martinez, who's one of the cops who killed Brother Africa on Skid Row in his tent, is still patrolling Skid Row. That these cops actually get promoted much more readily than they are disciplined. And so we do have to do something. And the only reason that it's, taking so long is because there's not the political will in city council. It's very, very difficult when you think about Hugo, when you think about Ionisas Hernandez, when you think about Nitya Raman, it's very difficult. These are the 3 city council members who've been most vocal and active around police accountability and around making sure that the rights of everyday Angelenos are protected. Well, the LAPPL has very, very deep pockets, and they are running all-out campaigns to get them out of office. If you look at what's happening with Nitya's race right now, that's what they're attempting to do. So it takes a lot of courage and a lot of will to be able to hold them accountable. It's one of the things that ran off Mike Bonin, right? The way that the LAPPL came after Bonin, who chose not to run for re-election, and instead we get Tracy Park, right, a cop apologist, sitting in that seat. It takes tremendous will and tremendous strength and tremendous courage to say LAPD needs to be reined in and there needs to be accountability. And so I think that that's one of the things that's being pointed to. And even though, like I said, LAPPL spent $1.5 million trying to make sure Bass wasn't elected, I think she's looking forward to her next run for re-election, and doesn't want to have to, overcome that same sort of spending, that same sort of opposition from LAPPL this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, and there's always more than meets the eye, right? You're talking about a mayor who has had her home broken into twice since she decided to run for mayor. Once her gun was stolen, and the last time they got into the second floor of the mayor's mansion. And, security is, especially for a black woman mayor of a city like this, is also a question.
Right. And that's why we need accountability, right?
For sure.
Who are coming after her as well, right?
Yeah. Well, we have until July 30th, I guess, is when they take this up again after their break, and they could vote on a revised version of this if revisions are actually taking place. It's certainly something to track. Okay, so look, we're going to do like we do at the end of the hour always, which is tell us what the calls to action are and tell us how to follow you. And then with your permission, we'll kidnap you for at least the first few minutes of the next hours, because I can't wait to hear you with your political scientist hat on talking about J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it. So we need everybody to get involved, right? When we fight, we win. And so come this afternoon, 2:45, we're going to be in Woodland Hills with Niyani Finlayson's mom. And we want to make sure everybody's there to support her, right? As we acknowledge the step forward in getting the sheriff's deputy who killed Niyani Finlayson and Michael Thomas before her, right? This 27-year-old black mother was killed by Deputy Ty Shelton. I know many of our listeners had a hand in getting that sheriff's deputy fired. So today, 2:45 in Woodland Hills, all the information is on our Instagram at BLMLA. And then join us every Wednesday, 4 p.m. in front of the LA Police Protective League as we protest them. So 4 p.m. every Wednesday, 1313 West 8th Street. Follow Black Lives Matter Los Angeles on Instagram at BLM Los Angeles, and or BLMLA on X and Instagram at BLM Los Angeles. And then you can follow the national effort at BLM Grassroots, and BLMgrassroots.org also has our brand spanking new action report, what we've been doing all around the country. And you can plug in with that work and support that work all around the country. Again, that's BLM Grassroots on all social media, and BLMgrassroots.org has the full report.
And don't forget, this is not a drill. We can still hear you sometimes from the campaign trail. That's a BLMLA show. Saturday mornings only right here. Saturday mornings at 8. Okay, thank you for agreeing to stay locked down with me a little bit longer as we get into the national scene. That's next after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. An Illinois sheriff's deputy is being charged in the deadly shooting of a black woman who called 911 because she thought an intruder was in her home. Prosecutors said Wednesday that Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson has been indicted on multiple charges, including murder. Authorities say Sonia Massey